Oh, good evening, this is Houndog Steve wishing you a very pleasant evening and welcome back to my channel. And of course we're going to continue a sort of conversation about the outbreak that's running currently, and I think you will all understand what I mean when I talk in a little bit of code here. But I've been listening to the radio all day, of course, and at work, and I'm just getting more and more annoyed at the fact that the people who are calling out from the rooftops for everybody to stop working and to cease earning money are the ones who have got all the bases covered. They have benefits, they have incomes, they're not going to lose anything over this, and the people who have everything to lose over this don't have a say at all. And basically what the government is offering is that small businesses can get loans from banks. They're going to backstop loans from banks, I believe, so you can borrow your way through this crisis. And we're not really certain what this crisis is going to look like, and so I think it's pretty unfair to not consider the plight of those people who are living from one paycheck to the next. Look at the travel industry, look at the food industry, the restaurants, the bars, all been ordered closed by the government. And yet, as I say, all of the government workers have an income basically guaranteed to them. And I just want to take a moment to remind you here that going into quarantine does not guarantee immunity. Now I'm not talking about saying this is the wrong thing to do or the wrong direction to go, but what I'm saying is that just because you go into quarantine for 14 days or you self-isolate, it does not mean that you are immune from this outbreak. This outbreak will continue around the world from now until about 3 or 4 years out, and because there is no herd immunity in any of us, and none of us are immune to this situation, we are all going to contract CV at some point or another in the next 3 years. Now the outcomes are going to vary from person to person, and the great many people are going to survive quite wonderfully, just like going through any other situation where you get a cold or an upset or an illness. We get ill and we recover. Some of those symptoms are going to be very mild, and some of them are going to be disastrous. There is not one of us are going to escape. Okay, so the reason for all of this quarantining and shutting down and locking down and so on and so forth, which I think will actually get worse before it gets better, is basically to slow down the progression of the outbreak. And the reason they want to slow down the progression of the outbreak is that they don't want to overwhelm the medical system. And of course, that begs the question, why is the medical system in distress right now? I mean, the medical system is on its knees in Ontario and probably in Canada. There are a significant portion of beds taken up with chronic care because there are not enough places in retirement homes or nursing homes. There are not enough nurses. In fact, I believe I read the other day that there are nearly as many administrators as there are nurses when you count in provincial as well as the hospital board and so on and so forth. The nurses are the ones that do all the work, and that's why we don't have the beds, is because they allocate hospital bed size by the number of nurses available to attend to the patients in those beds. Okay, so they have the beds, they just don't have the nurses to take care of those beds. And why is that? Well, because there's all kinds of money being wasted on all kinds of projects that are not going to do anything for the medical industry. And so we're forgetting who did that, and we know exactly who did that because these people have excluded us from the conversation for the last 4 or 5 decades, even if back then we had some kind of a say. I wasn't in a position to know at that point in time, but we haven't had a say in anything. These people have run everything from top to bottom, back to front and side to side, and so it can the blame for all of this can only rest at their feet. So they sucked up all the money. Where it's gone, I don't know. Now, this is Dr. Rosanna Salvatierra, and she is the head of the medical authority in Peterborough, and she's standing at the podium there doing a press conference, and she's reassuring everybody that they are completely 100% prepared for a crisis in that town. Now, I have to point out here that there's only been one case in Peterborough, and yet at the same time, with a straight face, she tells them that they're running short of test swabs. How could you be? There's only 60 patients in the whole of Ontario right now. Now, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not playing this down. I'm not saying that it's not important and it's not nothing. What I'm saying is that we have sunk all kinds of money into these governmental departments to make sure that they were prepared for these kind of situations. And you have one patient and you're running low on swabs. What are you going to do when you have 5,000 patients? Another anecdotal note that I got today, I was talking to a friend whose son is a doctor in a hospital, and they have been cut down to 3 operating theatres. The rest have been turned over for emergency ICU units, and he says that they have about 10% of what they actually need in this situation. So this money has been going everywhere but where it's needed, and we need to speak out about that. So this situation is going to be very, very difficult for those who don't have enough money to get through. Now, here's an article from CBC, and 46% of Canadians are $200 away from bankruptcy at the end of the month. 46%. That's over 15 million people are $200 away from bankruptcy. Now, how do you think those people are going to fare during this situation? How much extra stuff can you buy with $200? I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. This is going to be, it's going to be cruel and unusual to watch this happen. And I think there's going to be real trouble. I think people are finally going to notice that your government has been fiddling whilst Rome burns. And there have been a few people, myself and friends included, who have been raising a clarion call to this for years now, realizing that we are living way beyond our means as far as the government. We're not taking care of the important tasks, and we're spending money on all kinds of frivolous nonsense and organizations that do absolutely nothing but make a complete cock-up of everything and then claim success. We're forgetting, of course, and these people are going to claim victory. Oh yes, we have won. We've won against this outbreak, and they've done nothing at all. It's us that have won. It's us that have clawed our ways through this against all odds. Now, as I say, this is going to be difficult. I'm not sure how we're going to survive this. I don't know what is coming down the pipe next, but it's looking like the next step is going to be a complete lockdown of all businesses that offer services to the public, except for emergency services like food retailers, that kind of stuff, where you have to go to doctors, hospitals. Those kind of things will remain open, but everything else will shut down, because they're looking at Italy, and they're looking at the way Italy has done business to isolate people, to quarantine people. But as I heard this evening on Chris Martenson, and I will link Chris below, he is doing some brilliant work in researching all of this. It seems to me that the leaders are going to see a situation where they're going to try and contain this as much as possible, but allow it to burn through as well, because that's what has to happen. We have to get herd immunity into this situation. And until that happens, as I say, staying at home, social distancing, isolating, this is only going to slow the process. And because there is no herd immunity, every single one of us will contract this at some point in the future, between now and 3 to 4 years out. And so we have to accept that, and we have to accept the consequences of that. We have to be adult about this. And we have to show a little sacrifice here. But as I say, I'm getting frustrated with this. I'm getting frustrated with the media who are misinforming the public. the media who missed the ball completely, because this story broke on December the 3rd with the doctor that raised warnings about this situation. Okay, and everything lay dormant until January 22nd. And even then the media said there's nothing to worry about, nothing to see here, folks. Whilst other people are saying, yes, there is something to see here. And then all of a sudden it's mass panic and pandemonium. And then when the public panics, they have the nerve to accuse the public of panicking, hoarding, and crazy shopping. Now, I will admit, the toilet paper thing did get out of hand a little bit, but, we have been told to prepare for 2 weeks isolation at home. That means you have to have 2 weeks of preservable goods in your house. Everybody. That's what we've been told. And when you go to do that, it looks like you're hoarding. Well, no, it's not hoarding. And we were told to do this. The media needs to back off a little bit on this and let people deal with the situation. I highly recommend social media for your information, because you're getting information through me, which is as you would see it. Because I assume I'm talking to people who are in a similar situation to myself, and have to deal with the same kind of problems that I do, which is virtual poverty, living close to the poverty line, and having to make do with an awful lot of things, and basically scratch cooking, this kind of stuff, growing a garden, and being a little bit more resilient, because you can't afford to live that way. It's a real hardship for me to go out and buy a vehicle and carry a loan. This is going to really hurt me in over the short term. I don't know how this is going to work out, but so the media needs to back off on this a little bit and understand the realities of life for ordinary people, because we are the majority, and we are the ones who are going to have to link arms and go through this together. Okay, and I really would like to see some benefits going to the people, just free benefits. Just like, even if it's a one-off, send everyone a check for say $3,000 to get them through this hump. Every individual. Yes, I know it's going to cost billions of dollars, but we bailed out the banks last time. In 07 and 08, we gave the banks literally trillions of dollars, and that money flew out of the country in foreign investments. That did not go back down to the people. That did not trickle down and do what it was supposed to do. That money should have gone directly to the people, and then there wouldn't have been that recession in 2007, 2008. Okay? And that's the same with the situation here. This money should not go to the banks. This money should not go to large corporations. This money should go directly to each individual in this country. And why not? We have paid into this system for years. We now have an emergency. We've had good times for the longest time, and that is what's frustrating about all of this, is where has all that money gone? Where's all that money that we've put into this system? Where has that gone to? Where has that gone to? And those politicians, after all is said and done, when this is over and done, those politicians had better have some damn good answers as far as I'm concerned. Okay, well, that's about it for now, and in the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe below. Please share. These videos are getting demonetized, so they're not getting around as they should be to other people. And so thank you all for joining me on this journey and sharing all of these experiences with me as I am sharing them with you. And this is Hound Dog Steve signing off, wishing you a very pleasant evening, and we'll talk very, very shortly. See you now. Bye.